You'll know the debate this has sparked in our society. Our reporter Govan Whittles at the protest outside the prison today is in our studio now. Govan, good afternoon to you. Firstly, at this stage, do we know if or when Janusz Waluś is going to be released?
Well, Stephen, the Justice Minister will decide whether he will be released tomorrow, and that announcement is imminent from Ronald Lamola, and it looks like if the go-ahead is given that he will be released tomorrow. But the Department of Correctional Services seeming cognizant or rather wary of the fact that the rescission application also comes with a letter to the Justice Minister asking him for a stay in the execution of the parole. At this point, it's in Ronald Lamola's court. It's his decision on whether he will be released. The deadline is tomorrow, and that decision is now imminent.
Sure, so we could find out in the next literally the next few moments. What do we know about the condition of Waluś himself after he was stabbed yesterday?
Well, he's in a stable condition in the medical facility in the Kgosi Mampuru Prison, Correctional Center. What we know is that he was stabbed while dishing up his dinner. And he's been kept in a single cell for quite a while. The Correctional Services Department saying they can't prevent him from interacting with other inmates, particularly during dinner time, and also when he goes to see the Correctional Services psychologist. But this time he was stabbed while in line. He hadn't received his food yet. And they say that he's under close supervision in the medical center, in the correctional center. But he'll be taken back to his single cell. That's what they're working towards. And from there, they're not going to start serving him meals in that cell. So he will be interacting with other inmates again. And this is where it becomes tricky, because correctional services say they realize that there is a risk of this happening to him again. And today at that protest, which was the Tripartite Alliance partners, they actually called for parole to be given to the person who stabbed Janusz Waluś, some of the speakers there. So there's clearly a lot of incitement of violence against Janusz Waluś. Correctional services say they realize that's happening, but they'll protect him as far as they can, while also making sure that he does meet his obligations to go and fetch his dinner and also interact with the psychologist. Of course, at this point, if that continues for another week, it'll be because the Justice Minister decides that should happen while the rescission application is underway. But if the Justice Minister decides not to, Janusz Waluś will be walking out of that maximum security correctional center tomorrow.
Sure. Temperatures beginning to rise a little over this. The people protesting today, what was their main message? What were they saying?
Interesting message coming from the South African Communist Party, accusing the Constitutional Court of undermining the spirit of the Constitution by taking this decision, but also insisting that they do have a right to have this rescission application heard. They believe there is sufficient grounds for the parole to be stayed pending this execution, or pending this hearing of the application at the Constitutional Court. Another interesting phrase from Kgosi Mampuru, the General Secretary of the South African Communist Party, saying that even if we keep Janusz Waluś in the correctional center for just one more week, it will be a victory for us, essentially admitting that they believe that his parole is imminent here, and that they are anticipating his release. More commentary from the ANC, a Deputy Secretary General hopeful, Nomvula Mokonyane, saying that they should release the address where Janusz Waluś will be staying after he's released on parole. So clearly tension's still very high here. A lot of harsh words for Janusz Waluś coming from the protesters outside. And Kgosi Mampuru saying that essentially the Constitutional Court has hung the Communist Party out to dry for the right-wingers to do as they please. Very strong statements, but they claim that they still do respect the authority of the Constitutional Court.
Govan Whittles, really appreciate that. Thank you very much indeed. An update for you from that protest outside the Kgosi Mampuru Correctional Center today. All right, so still awaiting Phala findings, still awaiting that decision from the Minister of Justice and Correctional Services, Ronald Lamola, on whether he will in fact release Janusz Waluś.